A historic day has passed. Find out where each candidate stands after Election Day.
And find out how one resident escaped her would-be kidnappers from a local gym. Welcome to Winthrop Close Up. I'm Jake Alexander.
And I'm Saisha Latimer. Election night has come and gone for the president, and we still have no clear winner. With states still left to be decided, Biden holds a slim lead in the race to 270 electoral college votes. As many absentee votes have yet to be counted in some counties, both candidates are preaching different messages.
It may take a little longer, as I've said all along. It's not my place or Donald Trump's place to declare who's won this election. That's the decision of the American people.
This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
President Trump was able to keep key states like Florida and Texas, while Biden was able to keep New Hampshire and Minnesota. Swing states such as Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania are all still counting votes. These may take a few days, so they're asking everyone to be patient during this process.
As the presidential election is still up for grabs, the South Carolina Senate seat was decided. Incumbent Republican Lindsey Graham defeated Democratic challenger Jamie Harrison, winning 56% of the vote to reclaim the Senate seat, a seat that Lindsey Graham is getting back with new energy.
I'm going back to the Senate with a purpose. I've never wanted my job more than I do now. I never appreciated my job more than I do now. I've never been more grateful to have it, and I think I've never been more prepared to do it than I am right now.
For Jamie Harrison, it was a hard loss, but he feels as though this is just the beginning.
Tonight only slowed us down, but a new South with leaders who reflect the community and serve the interests of everyone will be here soon enough.
Republicans won 6 of the 7 seats in the House of Representatives.
Representative Ralph Norman was one of those winners. Over 200 people gathered to celebrate Norman on his re-election as South Carolina's House Representative for District 5. But Norman says that the race wasn't easy given the times.
People have been closed in. They want to come out. There's a frustration with being cooped up. So it's different. It's changed things. It's changed the way you do your social media, the way you do your advertising, but it's just part of it.
Norman thanked his family, supporters, and even his opponent, Mo Brown, which he understands is hard putting your name out there in politics. Despite this win, Democrats are still projected to win the House of Representatives. Many people think that it's very surprising that Jamie Harrison wasn't able to win over South Carolina, despite all the ads and everything that everyone saw on a daily basis.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the North Carolina side of things, you have Tom Tillis, who is claiming victory, although the votes have not entirely been counted yet.
Right.
Voter turnout has reached record highs this year, especially in the minority communities. Our Kristen Knight tells us how Winthrop's NAACP chapter is helping spread the word on voter rights.
For many years, African Americans were not given an opportunity to vote. Thousands of people worked and sacrificed to make sure they had this right. There are those who stress that African Americans should not be taking this opportunity lightly.
They got beaten, put in jail, just for registering African Americans to vote. So it's like, why should we sit and stay at the house when we have an opportunity to have a say in what's going on in our government and our society? So I feel like it's really robbery for us not to get out and vote.
The NAACP isn't the only one spreading awareness on discrimination and police brutality. Professors are going out of their way by sharing how students can make a major change by one simple act of voting.
When we talk about prosecutors and, grand juries and all these different types of the process of the justice system. A lot of those issues could be solved by voting. These people are elected, so we can mobilize and vote people in and vote people out.
Winthrop's own NAACP chapter held a candlelight service to spread awareness about lives lost due to police brutality. Their hope was to inform people while also expressing the importance of voting.
The name of the event was hashtag say their names. So for people who weren't aware of who these people were, like who these men and women were that were killed by police, if you came to the event and didn't know who those names were, now by the end of the event you know exactly who those names are, and you know the whole meaning behind the Black Lives Matter movement.
Voting is one way to make your voice heard, but it's important to strive for equality every day. This is Kristen Knight with Winthrop Close Up.
Local news is just ahead on Winthrop Close Up. Plus, domestic violence victims are trapped in with their abusers. Find out why next.
And it's a blast from the past. Find out where you can play these arcade classics.
It's a living way of writing.
Personally, I love the class and the people in it because listening to all those people talk about their ideas, the characters, everything they do.
Because the department was looking for something very creative that students could get involved in.
Working in groups together with a bunch of other incredibly creative people.
Because it's incredibly fun. Definitely take the class.
A crisis that tends to get overlooked is human trafficking. Charlotte is one of the worst cities for it, but now it seems traffickers are branching out to smaller, unsuspecting towns. Recently, I spoke with a woman who was mere seconds away from being kidnapped.
I was not the only girl there that night.
For Faith, it was part of her routine, going to the gym like any other night. However, once she arrived, she noticed something was off.
I noticed that there was a truck that was still running, which I thought was strange. You know, who sits in a parking lot at a gym. So I made a mental note of it.
When she finished her workout and made her way to her car, that's when things started to go wrong.
I got to my car, locked the doors, and when I was leaving, I was almost to the exit. And another car that I had not seen came out of nowhere with dim lights and completely blocked off the exit.
What happened next? Faith said that the truck began to charge for her as she was cornered. She then realized she had to get out. Fast.
Called my mom. She told me to call 911. And I weaved in and out of traffic until we got to a location that my mom and I had planned on. And the police officer met me there and followed me home.
The biggest issue that Faith pointed out to me was the lack of security cameras in the area, which means that had she gotten abducted, there'd be no way to know who the perpetrators actually were.
I would avoid going to parking lots that don't have security cameras, especially at night. And I would have a taser or pepper spray or a gun, no matter what.
Faith hopes that by getting her story out, she can use her voice to help save more lives. When it comes to human trafficking, remember that it can happen to anybody, at any place, at any time. To learn more about the issue and what you can do in this situation, call the Human Trafficking Hotline, or you can visit their website.
Domestic violence numbers have surged. COVID-19 has limited options for victims to escape their abusers. Help is one phone call away. Regina Cobb reports.
To prevent the spread of COVID-19, states have issued a shelter-in-place order. This has forced domestic violence victims into lockdown with their abusers. The restrictions may prevent the spread of COVID, but it has increased the number of bruises.
The mental and emotional abuse started, and then it soon turned physical. I was in denial. I was young. I wanted to be loved. I didn't think I was good enough. And so I was in this relationship, and when it got physical, it got bad.
Yet the physical abuse can turn into something worse.
He beat me. He raped me. There's multiple times that he apologized, that he would never do it again.
1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men will experience domestic violence in their lifetime. To stop the cycle of abuse, some feel there is a need to educate the community on developing healthy relationships.
We really work with individuals and community agencies to educate as well as to provide services as far as advocacy.
The part that we're lacking in is giving the help to the abuser so that they can change their ways and understand that abuse isn't okay, and then get them the help that they need so they won't choose to abuse.
If you or someone you know is in an unhealthy relationship, call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. Regina Cobb with Winthrop Close Up.
South Carolina is number 5 with male-on-female domestic violence cases, with Alaska being number 1.
Classic video games are now able to be played in their original form. See how you can be transported back to the past next.
À ma table, il fait si froid dehors. Ici c'est confortable, laissez-vous faire, milord, et prenez bien vos aises, vos peines sur mon cœur, et vos pieds sur une chaise, je vous connais.
Old school video games are now available in the Rock Hill community. Lindsay Burrell shows us some of the fan favorites.
Games such as Dig Dug, Galaga, and Pac-Man are able to be played in their original form at Player 1UP in downtown Rock Hill, and this Sparkade is giving a new life to some of those old classics.
We've got all the old classic video games and pinball machines from basically the 80s and 90s.
Even though Player 1UP is a 21 and older barcade, Saturdays and Sundays are open to all ages so families can get in on the fun.
Saturdays we're open from 12 to 11, but from 12 to 5 we are open to any age to come in. It's $5 admission into the arcade, which gives you unlimited free play on all the video games and pinball machines.
Player 1UP will also be hosting Ladies' Nights on Thursdays with a free cover charge. I'm Lindsay Burrell with Winthrop Close Up.
So, what were some of your favorite arcade games growing up?
I used to play a lot of racing games,
Okay.
like back at all the skating rinks and stuff, like NASCAR Arcade. Hydro Thunder was another one of my favorites. So what about you? What did you play?
Personally, I was a Pac-Man girl myself, especially like when everything turned blue and it was free game for all. I'm getting all the fruits, everything. That's it for me.
Classic.
Well, with that being said, thank you for watching Winthrop Close Up. I'm Sayusha Latimer.
And I'm Jake Alexander. Tune in next time to have more election updates, and be sure to follow us on social media.